Hello, circuit riders and friends of Mosaic. Welcome to the Sanctuary, where we talk to members of the Mosaic neighborhood about their journey through the world of church. Today, we have the exciting opportunity to talk to Joel, who is not only a member at Mosaic, but is one of our leadership team members. So, Joel helps us navigate how to build a safe and beautiful church. Joel, it's great to see you today.
It's great to see you. Great to see you.
So let's just start off.
Yeah.
Tell us about the church you grew up in.
Well, I grew up in a Methodist church. As a child, the main things I remember were being fat and stuffed into too tight clothing in the South, where there was no air conditioning, and I'm wool and I'm sitting there like this, and it's miserable. And later on, I would know things when I grew up to be like in my 10, 11, 12, very early on, really. I'm learning things about what's going on in the congregation for real from my parents. Thank you very much. But I would go to church and I would see these people, and I knew what they were doing outside of church. And I would see them being very upright in the church, and then sanctimonious and that sort of thing. And I'm better than you, kind of, for this family against that family. And it just was dissonant with what the pastor was saying. Even at that age, I figured that out. And so I just figured we went because we went. It was sort of like, the Jesus Club. But that's what I grew up in. And after a while, it wasn't working for me. It was not working. And I needed a place to go that I could be who I was. And the thing was, I didn't know what that was. I just knew I was different. I was other and somehow wrong. And then when talk about gay liberation started on television, I started feeling a pull towards that because it felt like I understood it. And that's the thing, once I started recognizing how my church, this is in my teens now, how my church was approaching anyone who was other. It just felt hypocritical, and I just needed to leave. And I eventually did as soon as I could, which was about 19 and 20, when I could pretend I was at college studying, so I couldn't come to church. That was my escape.
I think we see a lot of people leaving the church at that 18, 19 that were brought up in constrictive churches, that even maybe were brought in wonderful churches. There, you're starting to explore, you have that separate identity from your family, so you have the opportunity to leave. Mm-hmm. Were there any good parts of the church that you still hold on to, like maybe people you met, maybe something the church you did with the church? I know we talk about some people enjoy camp, some people don't, some people enjoy YMF, they don't. Was there anything?
MYF, that was it. I attended it exactly once. I can tell you a little bit about the story about that. Wonderful, wonderful guy taught MYF. I don't know what his wife did, but she was also very into the church and doing fun things. Her husband was the MYF guy, and he also taught orchestra and music and chorus at my high school. And I knew the people that went to MYF because I went to high school with them as well. And they were terrible people. They mocked him. They would say terrible things about him because he taught the arts. And they were the people that were in there. Why on earth would I want to, hang out with someone like those people when I knew that they really treated this guy miserably, he was great, but I did not want to go. As part of his attempt to woo me and my younger brother into MYF, he took our family to see a show. It was being done out at the college. And I'd never seen a live show before, so we go to it, and I was just blown away. I saw in that show beauty and poetry, love, uh, so many things that I did not know existed in the world, sacrifice and what it meant to stand up for something that was important. And after that, I was just changed forever. It changed the course of my life. And I've had the great opportunity to have been a writer in my later part of life. So I wrote about him and got it published. And then I was able to come back here, take the book with me, and go knock on his door and say, I want to tell you what you did to change my life. And I had that great opportunity.
I think sometimes we see what we do outside of the church is more powerful than what actually happens in here.
It absolutely is, and that's one of the things that I look for in a church.
It's to make sure we're serving outside the walls, and it's not just proselytizing where we tell people, "Oh, you better be a Christian," but it's where we're actually making people's lives better.
Be the Christ you want to see in the world.
Exactly. So, I know that you went through some time where you said you walked away from the church.
Oh, in anger, shaking my fist at the sky.
What made you go at some point? And you weren't in Wilmington at this point. You eventually moved out of Wilmington
to college. Another college.
And then you ended up in, was it California?
Eventually, yeah. The time between there, though, was long and lonely because I felt a need for something that really wasn't there for me. And I read a lot, and it kind of opened my mind some. And I met a lot of people because before I got to there, I was also living in Jacksonville, Florida, where I met my husband. I was living in D.C., Manhattan, before moving to Los Angeles. So I had the opportunity, the gift of meeting so many different people in the world.
And you're from Wilmington, right?
Yeah. Brooke.
So we're both from Wilmington, and I think part of a big spiritual journey is going other places, leaving your hometown.
Yes.
And meeting other people. That helps you understand there's more to the world than this.
I was in Amritsar, India, going to the Golden Temple, which is a world pilgrimage site for Sikhs, standing in line to get in. And I had this epiphany while I was in line. You're just cheek by jowl like this. Everybody's like trying, slowly to get in. And they had jumbotrons on either side of this huge area, and it's gorgeous. Inside, they have a person who chants their holy book 24/7. And while I was in this cramped area here, trying to, while we're waiting to get in, I guess it got to a part that everybody knew. It would be, I guess, the equivalent of if they started singing the Beatitudes, I might go, oh yeah, I can sing along with this. And they sang along. So I am surrounded by people, and they're all singing the same thing, and it's spiritual. And I suddenly saw that and got in my heart. The idea moved about 8 inches down from my head into my heart. It's all the same. It's all the same thing. Different words, different traditions, different stories, but it's all the same thing. It's like this infinitely faceted jewel, and we all see only one facet of it, and we think that's the only facet that there is, and if you see another facet, you're wrong, and we have to kill you. That's just not the case. We're all looking at the same thing from a different angle, and it's all this one amazing jewel. That was the epiphany that I had while I was there.
Okay, we could end the podcast right there because that is one of the most beautiful things I've heard. I think as we begin to understand other cultures and other religions, if we truly have compassion, I think that is what you get, is that,
and we are all one.
We are all one. We are all a product of this group of people. When we say make heaven on earth, we're not saying make a Christian version.
No.
We really truly are creating this peaceful place, and that's what so many people are searching for. So we could stop the podcast there, but we've got more to talk about. What brought you back into church? What kind of started to draw you after you had that epiphany? What stirrings, what in a church, what brought you back?
I wanted I wanted a structured kind of environment in which to worship. There were friends of mine that were involved with this church, MCC, Metropolitan Community Church, founders in Los Angeles. I had the opportunity to meet Troy Perry, no relation. I had the opportunity to meet wonderful people who went to the church, some internationally known, but for other things that will just lie. But see, it was interesting people. And they were here, and they were making, and it was working for them. It's like, okay, I'll start going. And it really just appealed to me because it was a gay church, pretty much. It wasn't, they say they're not. They're kind of not, but the thing is, it was built out of such a need for gay people to go someplace that's kind of where it has found its niche. And I'm glad for that. I felt a part of what was going on, and I became excited about being there. I was a worship team coordinator for this largest church, and we had communion every time we met, which meant that there were a lot of these communion stations, and each communion station had somebody holding the elements, somebody blessing on this side and somebody blessing on this side. So that's 3 times plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 in the balcony. It's like herding cats. You know that. Anything you do in church with volunteers, God love them, is like herding cats.
Yes.
And so I got to be part of that. I was asked a couple of times to go down to some MCC churches in San Bernardino and Long Beach to preach. I was like, oh my God, I don't have this kind of training, but I just did it. And I think that's where we find ourselves called sometimes. We get asked to do something, and you just say, okay. You know, we sing that song, yes, God, yes, God, yes, yes, God. Well, say it. Not only say it, but do it. Be it. If you get called, just go. And you will be amazed at what you meet, and that's what I got to do. And that's what filled me up.
We in this church, when we first started meeting, didn't have a building, didn't have a place, and the local MCC church was the only church here that welcomed us and said, share the space with us. There is power in being completely and radically inclusive for churches. There is a very strong power in that. I wish that was the way all churches were, but we're
working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. That's what we're doing. But for a lot of people, what gets them back in the door is the fact that they're just celebrated for who they are. It's that simple. So you were in the MCC church, and there were some other, you mentioned in previous worship services, that there are some other things that made you realize you needed something to align you, something to connect you, some kind of higher power or God.
Well, when I got here, I was never expected to come back here. Plot twist.
Plot twist always.
Yeah. When I got here, I tried out MCC. The first thing I did. And I love the guy that runs it. Love him a lot. A lot of respect for him. But it was kind of established already. And I felt like I was supposed to do something else more closely related with people. Around this same time, I hit bottom with an addiction that brought me into 12-step. And in 12-step, I had my butt kicked very much the way it needed to be. And as you go along, and I've got 11 plus years sobriety now, you start becoming, of course I had a sponsor, and you start becoming, after a while, able to be a sponsor. And there is nothing, you want to learn something, teach it. Oh my gosh. So I learned to be a sponsor for a bunch of people over the years. That's the thing I think that gave me the excitement of being one-on-one with someone and being able to like communicate this. If you don't believe that 12-step relates to Christianity, Richard Rohr has written a fantastic book exactly about that. I can't think of the name of it, of course, right now.
We'll put the link in the comments.
Terrific. And he will do chapter and verse as we go along through each step. So if you're afraid of 12-step and you're fearing that they're going to make me believe in some other kind of God, no. Just check it out. It's really well worth it. Then one day, I was happily doom scrolling through my phone, and I thought, who just took a picture of my house and posted it? So I went back. That was the Rainbow House, yeah. And looked at it. Oh, it's not my house. Looks similar, but not. And so I said, what is this? Anything rainbow, right? So I checked it out. And one of the things that the principles was that you had special outreach to LGBTQ plus, POC, and neurodivergent. And I just went, well, that's where I'm supposed to be. And I came. It was limited chaos.
Yes.
I'd say structured chaos, because it was certainly chaos and it was working.
So I'm going to stop. Before we got this building, we spent a year in a house. We found this house that was a business rental, so we were able to rent that. We used that to do church as best as we could, but we did church. We did not the traditional, like you think of in a church building. We were on the ground doing church. We were in the backyard having worship. We had groups. It was structured chaos. And it was a little yellow house that looked like a house in a neighborhood.
And it was joyous.
And it was joyful, and it was rainbows, and it's part of our origin story. But then you saw that house, and you thought this is where, and then I'm just going to say the day that I met Joel, we started talking at the Rainbow House, and then I think we went to Castle Street Kitchen, and we kept having this conversation. So during that time, I was having conversations with lots of people. When you have a church focused on church trauma, I was meeting outside the church. It's one of the reasons we didn't have a church building. I was meeting people outside of the church to talk because it was too triggering. But we met and we started talking. So tell us more about your journey into Mosaic.
My journey into now that I'm here.
Yes. Oh, how you saw this rainbow house, you saw this yellow house, and you thought, this is where I need to be.
This is where I need to be because I could see a need. I could sense and see a need that could be met. I felt like I could meet wherever it was. My thing is not, let me be the leader over here. My thing is, where's the need? And if I could see a need, a trash can that needs emptying, or toys on the floor that need to be picked up before somebody trips over them. Whatever it is, that's just what I do. So she saw me doing it and promoted me. She collared me one Sunday and told me that I was going to be part of the singing team. I'm not that great a singer. And 2, I was a board member. So that's my journey.
So
I love it. I really do. I mean,
as a new church, one of the things we had to do is, I know you go into churches and they have all these committees and boards and councils and stuff. We had none of that. We were just starting. And so as people were coming into the church and we see them doing things, then we're like, hey, since you're doing stuff, don't you want to decide how we do it?
Yes. That was kind of exciting.
And so, so Joel became part of our very first, we don't have all the committees and admin council structure. We are in a new model called a one team church where we have a lead team, a board that, as I've said before, and you'll see on our videos, the owner of this building, when we get our deed, and the people who decide what the church does, it's not me. I am on loan from the conference to everyone as the spiritual director. It's Joel and the other lead team members that actually, the church is theirs. I get the pleasure of serving them. And, years from now, they may choose someone else or some other amazing pastor will come through, but it's the lead team. So we didn't have one of those. So I was like, okay, we need one of those. And I remember in that first couple of weeks when we got the building, we're like, okay, now it's time. And Joel was the perfect candidate. I mean, Joel's willing to step up and
willingness. That's a 12-step. That's a big 12-step thing. Okay. Willingness as opposed to willfulness.
Yeah,
that's 1, 2, 3. That's steps 1, 2, and 3. Willingness, and you'll see it all throughout all the other steps too. You have to be willing to open oneself to Spirit. If I go and I sit there like, okay, what? It's not going to come. If I can open my heart, if I can open my ego, I can sit there and just absorb and understand it's not about acquiring, it's about letting go. For me, it's about letting go and being part of what's present and accepting it and being joyful in it as to the best of my ability, which isn't always that great, which is why I keep coming back to church.
I think that's why we all come to church. We say we're learning to do social justice and to be a chosen family, and I think it takes us meeting regularly, whether that's in worship or like right now, I don't know if you can hear, but we have a whole parents group with kids running around in the sanctuary right now. So it's just coming together regularly and talking about things and moving forward. So you found Mosaic, you are here, you are an intrinsic part of our structure now. As we are looking at other churches, as we are giving advice to other churches or to people who are looking for churches, can you tell me maybe 5 things that you would advise people to look for or advise a church to do?
I want to tell you what I look for, and I think that it'll become pretty apparent what I think is important for a church to offer, or at least to present, to work toward, put it that way. Yes, I have some, church trauma, and some of that will probably come out as in my voice as I talk about this. But I made notes because I wanted to remember all of them. Here's number 1. And the 5 things I look for in a church is I want a welcome with no asterisks. I don't want to get there because it says it's open and inclusive and learn that I am just kind of on the edge there. Yes, we want the LGBTQI people, but we want them kind of quiet. And could you please just not talk about it here? I don't want to be tolerated. I'm too old to be tolerated anymore. I won't stand for it. Been there, done that. Burned the t-shirt. I don't want to be merely tolerated. Number 2, I want a welcoming God preached. Not one where I have to earn God's love, because I'm going to tell you now, that's quid pro quo, and that's not how grace works. That's not how love works. If I've got to donate money to be this or that or whatever, if I have to be there so many Sundays before I'm allowed this or that, that's not a church. That's a club. And there's plenty of clubs out there. I don't want a club. I really feel, this is number 3, I really feel too that the church has missed the boat on a couple of things. One of the first ones is, I feel a lot of churches worship. Love me some worship. Love me some good worship. I will cry, I'll be moved, I'll raise my hands, all of that. I'm there for it. But I think that's just an easy out. I don't want to spend my time worshiping Jesus. I want to learn about emulating Jesus, not just here in the sanctuary, but in the grocery store, at the auto repair shop, wherever I am. I want to learn how to be Jesus. I mean, otherwise, if you're just coming to church because you want to feel good, stay home and take a gummy. We don't need you. The other thing that I feel the church missed the boat on, this is my number 4, is this whole idea of I have to be good in order to approach God. I think that does a lot of damage. It tells told me that I wasn't worthy to approach God, but I needed to be here every Sunday. And I think that's just bad theology. God doesn't only love me when I'm good. I want and try to be good because God loves me already. It hurts me when I see that happening in church, because I think that does do a lot of damage. And the 5th thing I think I need in a church is me. I need to learn. I need to have connection. I want to serve. I want to learn how to be a better person for myself, for my husband, for the people around me, for strangers that I meet on the street. There's a lot that's happening in politics and in society and in the world, and I can feel so small so much at the time. There's this protest and there's that protest, and that's wonderful, and it needs to be done, and I'll go. I also need to go inward myself, and I need to learn how to do that. I do use my 12-step around that. I mean, it's very clearly laid out how to do it. I also need the spirituality that I find one-on-one with leadership that I can trust, and a direction to go in around that. So that's why I need a church. And I really beg these folks that maybe are having difficulty understanding how to be different to recognize these things, such that people, I'm not the only one yearning. My yearning is met here, which is great. But the point of these talks is to help other people understand where there are barriers maybe being put up to that yearning, folks looking. So, yeah, I need to be in a church. And I'm so grateful to be here at this one. Even with her.
Even with my weird, nerdy
Happily.
eccentricities. Happily.
Are you
Yes.
kidding me? Are you kidding me? My tribe is other.
Mm-hmm.
My tribe is other. And I know there's lots of people out there that are other. And I can't wait to meet you in life, whether it's here, whether it's somewhere else. I don't care. The world needs other. Maybe that's another thing about the churches that I think, what is one thing
the one thing church need to focus on.
That if you look at your congregation and it's all one color, or you've got this one or that one that's a little other, you are missing out. You are so missing out. That's one of the things I really want to work on here, especially in this neighborhood that we're in.
Yeah. We
get some POC.
We need more. We have a few. In fact, some of our lead team are, but we're growing and we need more diversity.
Yes, we do.
That's what thing every Sunday we need more diversity.
All of us are looking for that.
Yeah, and not just. I mean, we need diversity. What we believe here is that diversity, that other, makes us better. We have an idea of sanctification. That's the ultimate place you can reach in grace. And I think to achieve sanctification, to achieve that beautiful place of grace, we said traveling helps, but I think having others, having your church made up of all others, not cookie cutter, but all others, helps us. I mean, it's hard. We're having to learn about neurodiversity and ableism and how to stand beside other marginalized groups.
Other languages.
Even in our church, we have people who come who aren't Christian. And we'll have people stand up and say, hey, I'm an atheist, but I have some questions during worship. So we are trying to expand our table. We keep talking about that. But I think churches are missing out by not celebrating otherness instead of trying to create a mold. And I think that is important information, especially for me as a pastor, to focus on celebrating the otherness instead of trying to create a cookie cutter Christian that goes out into the world and does the cookie cutter things.
Or a cookie cutter church.
I think
that's a kind of mindset that needs to be re-examined, because how much money, did you get?
Yeah.
How many did you have? How much did you get? I think that model is not working like it maybe used to, or maybe it never did. I don't know. It wasn't working for me when I was, what am I, 68? A half a century ago.
I think one of the things is, it used to be you went to church and you had to choose which one, and it was just, that is what you did. Especially in the South where we grew up, everybody in your neighborhood was part of a church. There were a few that were part of a temple, but everyone was part of a church, and you just had to pick which one was for you. We're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing people not choosing church over choosing church. And I understand it. I mean, we've been there. I think what I'm hoping, not just those searching for a church or not those listening to our story, but those who are actually creating and building church, I think we need to look at maybe just shaking the whole thing up like a snow globe. And
which is pretty.
Which is beautiful. That's when you love the snow globe, right? And then just figure out together with the people in your church how to do it better. I am so grateful for the members of our community. I am grateful for everyone online. I am grateful for everyone here that makes Mosaic what it is, for all of the stuff you share, even the criticisms that you share of the church. They make us stronger and they make us better. And here at Mosaic, we are healing that harm. We are trying to create a space where we very much look at it.
Exactly. I want a church that makes me feel seen and heard. So, and part of that is being able to take a suggestion, hear something that was quote unquote bad that maybe happened, so that it can be corrected. I believe that's makes us stronger, as you say. It forces me to rethink. If somebody says something, I don't think this is working, it forces me to rethink. I was talking with Shelby. Can I say her name?
Yeah.
I was talking with Shelby, and around painting. Mm-hmm. We have vastly different ideas about what we might do for the outside. Yes. But you know what? We're going to come together and it's going to work.
And we very much focus on listening and understanding. In fact, most every Sunday, one of our younger people, middle schoolers, will come up to me and call me out on stuff. And I am like, I just learned something new. Like instead of going, oh, but I'm the authority, I'm going, I just learned something completely new. And some of the rules in our church, some of the things that we have decided to do came out of, honestly, me going, but that's not the way the church always does it. And then stepping back and going, oh, like even the way we do worship, like I would never have thought about that. But it came out of everyone sharing and talking and listening. I am very grateful for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I am thankful that you are willing to share your journey with everybody. If you have questions, leave them for us. We are happy to answer them. We may even turn it into a video or something that we can share because I said, we are learning. So in the comments, ask questions, share your experiences with church. If you have experiences with 12-step, even share those because we want to learn from you. That's why we're here. This has been the Sanctuary at Mosaic on the Mosaic neighborhood. Please remember to subscribe, and if you could give us a thumbs up, that would help us share this message with the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it okay